Hi, I'm Juliane Hooper, a singer-songwriter from Brazil, and I'm here with the incredible Shawn. And this will be more like an informal interview because I'm a journalist, I'm a singer, and I'm a fan of this man's work. I love it. That's what I prefer in conversation. Yeah. The first question I have is about your live performances. They feel like a complete transformation of your music. I really love this. I think that's fascinating, and you explore every possibility inside a track. And how do you do that? How do you adapt the songs for live shows? You do with the band or by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a mixture, but even if I do it the band versus solo, I feel like the goal is to always have each performance be a unique performance of that song. Even if it's the same chords, the same melodies, I feel like there's no way that it could be exactly the same. If it is, then you're probably just doing it by the numbers, But for me, it's all about the atmosphere. So I was gonna say from recording, when I'm in a studio, it feels very sterile, almost like a lab. Like I'm creating this thing and trying to draw emotions and put it into this song, but in an environment with no energy. You know what I mean? We create the energy.
But you like the studio?
I do.
It's totally different.
In the beginning, it was difficult because it didn't feel. It didn't feel real, and there was, like I said, the energy was off to me. But over time, I grew to love the studio and learn how to do it the right way. But so live, it's like a song when I create it in the studio is one way, and I love that. But when you take it live, it transforms always, I think, automatically, because the way people react to it, the way that I might notice how to, I always like improvisation live as well. Like not a lot of it, not like with solos and stuff, but improvisation in the emotion of the song. I might feel a line a certain way and go a little bit harder, or be a little bit more subtle, or do a little bit more vibrato here or there. So for me, it's really being authentic and genuine in the moment of the performance,
and honest,
and how I feel. Because some shows, it might be I'm playing a house show or like an acoustic show, and so the song that was more like up, I might take it down and be more subtle with it, and it becomes more, I don't know, I've made Through the Valley into like an R&B feel before, like just with like the subtlety, because the room felt like it called for it. Versus other times I've taken it into like more intense, and because it was a crowd singing along and it became this massive thing. So for me, I don't know if I really think about how to transform it as much as just being in the moment. And with the band, you do think a little bit more, because everybody has to be on the same page. For instance, like with Like a Stone, the cover I did, the acoustic one is much more of a ballad, somber.
I love the acoustic version.
It's
the other two, but that one's my favorite.
It's a different energy, right? And everybody's gonna relate to something different. Like some people like the more raw acoustic, and some people like the band. But when we did it with the band, we made choices of how it was going to be live as a rock song to make it different. But I hope I answered the question enough.
Sure. And you really put your personality and your identity into the covers too.
That's it.
Anything you do.
So
that's what caught my attention.
That's a big thing. So for me, when I hear another artist cover a song and they do it exactly the same way that the original artist did, I almost see it as like disrespect in a way, because to me, no one could ever perform the original better than the original artist. I don't care how good your voice is, I don't care blah blah blah, but when you take it and interpret it in your own way and in your own style, and you put your own twist on it, then I feel like you're paying respect to the artist and letting that song live through you, and not just trying to be something you're not.
I agree. I try to do that too. And when I first started singing, I didn't know how to do that, but then you learn.
Through failure,
listening. It was frustrating in the beginning.
People ask me tips all the time, and my biggest tip to people coming up and trying to sing and write songs is get comfortable with feeling like an idiot and feeling dumb and failing.
Yeah.
Because that's the best way you're going to learn. I was so awkward when I first started, even with interviews.
I still am nowadays.
It happens, yeah. But the more you do it, the more you get comfortable, and it's just same with live. You know, I used to mess up and end the song and then restart, and now you learn, you just keep going, and you.
Yes.
Anyway, it's a lot through failure, and I think that over time you're gonna get better. It's just how it is. Anyone, you know, me too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You said Through the Valley was R&B before, like you thought about it.
So
I did a cover of this song.
You did?
Really, because I mean I wasn't going to talk about the game, but I will.
Sure.
Because I knew you through the game, and I love it, and it really touched me, really moved me, and it inspired me to write my own, and it was R&B, so.
Yeah. So no, it wasn't R&B. What I meant when I said that was, it was always folk in the way that it is, and always kind of that raw acoustic feel. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I'll take the song and just for fun to see what it would sound like in that way. And I know there's a performance out there from a show where I did do it differently. Yeah. And sometimes you can turn people off though, because when people expect and want something that they love, and you bring it to them in a new way, sometimes they don't translate the same, and they might get offended almost. But you know what? Again, if you're being real and honest, you can't always think about that. You have to think about what's right for you. And if it resonates with you, it'll make people feel. You know? But yeah, so it wasn't written R&B, but I'm saying that it's fun to kind of like just retranslate a song. You know?
I agree. It's the best. I do this too with my music. I do the covers. I try to do the covers, but...
Can I show you one thing on the guitar of what I mean?
Please.
Real quick? So this one's not with Through the Valley, but this is an easier interpretation. So when I first wrote this song, The Wanderer, it was...
I love this. It's the first song of the album.
That's all it was, over and over, right? And it's much quicker. When I go, I don't know when I'll be coming back again, leaving the past behind my stride. In this way I will abide. They call me the Wanderer. So that's like the original, right? And over time, it almost felt basic and boring to me. And so,
I get it.
So over
Sounds
time,
boring over time.
It became
not your
this. I slowed it down and I made it bluesy.
Yeah.
When I go, I don't know when I'll be coming back again, leaving the past behind my stride. In this way I will abide. They call me the Wanderer. It's got more of that like swagger and sway to it, and it felt more interesting. And that's another thing, is songs evolve over time. So for me, I never play it
the same.
I never do that anymore because it just doesn't feel right.
I get
it's
it.
like, so yeah, that's the same with like Through the Valley. Sometimes I feel like playing it a little faster, sometimes a little bit slower, sometimes, and songs do that. And I think it's just about being honest and in the moment with how
I love that. I love that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
agree.
sidetrack, but I was like, that's 100%. The best example, that one.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, from talking about honor and vengeance, my favorite song is I Want More.
Yeah, that's one of mine too.
Yeah, really? It's your favorite song from that one?
One of mine. I think
it's hard to choose.
For me, it's I Want More and Worth Anymore.
Okay.
What about you? You were about to say another one, right? Was it just I Want More?
I Want More and Muerte Mi Amor. I love it. And I loved how you incorporated Spanish.
Yeah.
How did it happen?
So I started listening to a lot more Spanish music and Portuguese music and French music and other cultures singing, because I've sung in English my whole life. And it's great. I know it in and out, and it's my main language, so sure. But I started listening to so many different artists and a lot of soul and older folk and some, I don't know, can't think right now. Bossa Nova and other stuff like that. And just when I would hear the music sung in a different language, I could hear the flow and the rhythm of what they were saying in a way that I never sang. It's completely different.
It's a different feeling.
English is very kind of cut and dry versus the other language have like a cool rhythm and to it. Even in speaking, the rhythm is beautiful. So I said, I want to learn. I want to do something. So I have a bunch of Hispanic friends. I had one in Venezuela. I had one in Spain, and I had two in Los Angeles, because I knew there were different inflections and different pronunciations in different Spanish.
Sure.
So I wrote what I wanted to say. I did a Google Translate, and then I asked all of them. I was like, and they're like, no. So they each had different answers of.
They said it was wrong.
Yeah, well, they didn't say it was all wrong. Some said this part was wrong. A different person said this part was wrong.
Yeah, the translator is the worst.
Because it's a big but also the different ways, the dialects of Spanish, completely different. So one person was like, you're kind of speaking like ancient way. You're being very, but I kind of like that. I wanted to sound mythological, legend almost in the way that. So through all of them helping me, we came to a mutual agreement on what they thought I was trying to say, and that's how I got it. And then I would record it a bunch of times, and they'd be like, "Oh, you pronounced that wrong, and you pronounce it like this." And
you did a lot of takes.
A lot of takes, and I finally got it right. And there's just something beautiful playing live and singing in that language, and it's just new for me. So it's inspiring, and it's something that I've been taking Spanish lessons now because I want to learn more, and I hope to do more Portuguese, and just because it's not the same old thing. It's reinventing things. You know, there's new words for feelings that aren't in the English language.
Yeah, there are words you can't translate.
Yeah.
That's it.
So it's a whole new world. And it's I'm excited to learn more and do it.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's what made me want to
listen to it. Yeah. I write both in English and Portuguese.
Yeah.
Portuguese and English. And I really believe that this brings a different tone and a richness to the composition, you know, using different languages.
I agree.
That's it.
It's new for me too, so it's like really exciting. And doing it live, my God, it's just great. I can see how the people are resonating with it.
Yeah.
I want more as it's like an anthem for me almost. And then the Muerte Mi Amor is just so emotionally charged in that ballad sense. It's just it's fun to do. It's something special about it live.
They're beautiful. The whole album is beautiful, and I love the live version. I listened to both of them. Well, last question, then I'm going to share something personal.
Yeah.
This past year, as an independent artist, I really struggled financially. Like I thought about quitting 100 times, and because of the lack of resources and support, and it's tough sometimes. How did you handle that in the beginning, if you can?
Yeah. I mean, it's never going to be easy, especially in the beginning and making your foundation. In the beginning, I would I busked in the streets, and I would be kind of smart about how I would do it. I would choose in the U.S. You know, there'd be, I'm sure you guys have it here, like farmers markets and different events on the weekend that a lot of people would go to, and I would set up the guitar, and I would play covers. And I would do stuff that would get people's attention because they knew it. And I would make a little bit of money that way. And I would, I also just worked shitty jobs all the time. You know, like you have to survive. But
I've always done like I've always had like 3 jobs.
Yeah. I've done pizza delivery. I was a dishwasher. I've done all sorts of things that I didn't want to do. I unloaded semi-trucks for department stores.
That's incredible. I like you more because of this now.
Well, it's real, right? Like I think that and as an artist, I think that it's good to go through that because it kind of tests you. And the ones who don't make it through, in my opinion, don't really deserve it. Like you have to go through the hard times and find a way and not give up. Like I felt the same way. I wanted to give up and say, this just isn't working. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I think for me, music has always been my therapy, my release, and I need it. More than about becoming famous or getting recognition or stuff like that. Music I need it. It's like my religion. You know what I mean? It's like it helps me in life, and psychologically, mentally, everything. So
Me too.
I think that when it's like that for you, music will never not be a part of it. And sometimes it's hard, but you have to separate focusing on the recognition and the fame, and when am I gonna be able to do all this, and just keep going. And I think the more time you put into it, and the more genuine and authentic you can be, people will pick up on it.
Yeah.
I remember my first opportunity, I was busking, and someone from a venue walked by, and they were like, "That sounds really good. Have you ever thought about opening a show for us? If we have an artist that fits, would you like to open?"
Really?
And I said, "Of course, I would love to, like huge." And like a month later, they're like, "I think I got an artist for you. You'll open. We'll pay you $100." But it was the fact that I got on a stage for a real show in front of like 100 people, and it was a big deal. So it's like, but that came out of nowhere. It's like by living that lifestyle and by accepting that it sucks, but I'm still gonna do it anyways, I think life rewards you, and it'll find a way.
Yeah,
you know?
like your purpose.
Yeah,
You can't steer away.
But there's no one path for everybody.
Yeah.
Like people try to give me advice on what I should do, and how I made it is completely different.
Yeah.
You know, and no one's gonna have the same.
Exactly, it's
outcome
different for each person.
Everybody. And I know that's kind of a non-answer, and I apologize.
No, it's
but
not. It's not.
The reality.
I really wanted to know what you had to say.
Yeah.
It's not. I didn't want an answer because I know it.
But like I said, if you live the life and you actually love it and you need it, which I feel like you do, then it'll work itself out, like one way or another. You just can't stop. You can't, even though it's.
I won't.
Yeah.
I won't because I can't. Like that's it.
Exactly.
I can't stop.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was. I think our time is up. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Sorry,
so
I know I
much.
had some long answers. And
No,
everything, but
that's fine. It was perfect.